They are people.
Good morning. Hello. I missed you so much. I had to work yesterday. I picked a shift up to help work out. It was bacon. I'm getting some muffinitis over here. Whipping that whipped cream. My shoulder hurts, but
Birdie.
other than that, everything is fantastic. We're happy to be here. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. Good morning. LOL. What's up, homie? Hey. Spirit says good morning. Hello. I feel so funny today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But hello, thank you for being here. My name is Patience. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. We are here. We're going to talk to George Harrison. If you want more metaphysical information about your ascension process and going into the new earth energies, you can find our journey and the knowledge that we have attained through the spiritual guidance of our own spirit team on Spirit News on all major platforms, where we bring you higher perspectives of linear views. Spirit News! Okay? We're talking to George Harrison today. I feel a little out of whack. I missed coming on yesterday because I picked a shift up at work, so I couldn't come in. I couldn't do both. It's hard to do both. It's about balancing, but Spirit says you're always on time. So I'm like, okay, Spirit, 2 in the chat. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your love and support, all your comments and all your likes and all your shares. We really, really appreciate it. We absolutely love you. If you want to follow any of our socials, find any and all of our socials through the link tree in the description bar. We'd love to have you be part of our community. If you love what we do here, make sure you're hitting that like button and that subscribe button so you know when we post. We do come on every single weekend at 6 a.m. on our YouTube channel, and we do energy experiments where we learn through the spirit guides how to read energy, and symbolism and all kinds of things. We don't use tarot here, not because we're against it, but because Spirit has led us to use other things, because God can talk to you any way God wants to. God is not limited by your belief system. So make sure you're broadening the way that God talks to you. Make sure you're coming from a heart space, that your heart's lighter than a feather, so you attract divine energy. Hello, everybody. Jerry, good to see you. Hello, Jaden. Naz Black. Is it Nas or Naz? I think it might be Nas. I used to love Nas. Jaden. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. So we're talking to George Harrison today. And the reason why George Harrison came up, well, first of all, I don't know if you know who that is. If you don't know who George Harrison is, he's from the Beatles. Do you guys remember the Beatles? I hope you do. I personally think the Beatles are horrible. I know it's going to be very controversial, but I listen to their music and I do not resonate. I don't resonate. I don't see what the big deal is, but I know people love them.
Salt.
So George Harrison said salt. Are you salty, girl? I don't know. It just isn't, oh, thank you so much, Jaden. Everybody has different, they resonate with different music. Like, my husband loves like Disturbed and rock and Metallica, and I just don't resonate with that stuff. I'm like an R&B hip hop girl. I don't know. Everybody's different. Me neither. Kind of not feeling them, right? I don't know what it is. I listen to their music and I want to like it because it's like iconic pop culture or whatever, but I don't know. I just don't feel it. I don't feel like it holds any emotional attachment for me, but It doesn't mean that they weren't great contributors to our social economic system. Good morning, Roxana. Zanetta. Good morning. Thanks for being here. So, George Harrison is one of 4 members of the Beatles. And in my experience, I've always loved conspiracy theories since I was little. And I have an older sister. She's 10 years older than me. And back when we used to have a relationship, I thought it was so cool that she took this, there was this conspiracy theory back in her day about George Harrison. Or wait a second. I'm just realizing something just now. Oh my God, that fucking liar. What a liar. What? I just realized my sister's a liar. I was gonna say that away from here. You little sneaky little devil. I was just gonna say, yes, Poverty Place. I was just gonna say, when I found this documentary, I was enthralled. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Because the rumor was that, I don't know, maybe she knew about it somehow. I don't know. Because she said that she brought it to high school as like a show and tell or whatever about Paul McCartney being dead. But then I just read right here about how he didn't even make, George Harrison didn't even make that exclamation until he was on his deathbed in 1999 after surviving a knife attack. But my sister was in high school in the 80s. What a liar. Anyway, that was just something I just realized. But anyway, I discovered that there's a documentary made in 99 after George Harrison was attacked by via knife, and on his bed of recovery, he decided to make this last will and testament about the truth about Paul McCartney. And he supposedly, allegedly, said that the real Paul McCartney died a long time ago. Paul is dead. Paul McCartney really is dead. And so I bought the mockumentary, or they call it a mockumentary because they can't substantiate if it's real or not. But I bought it and I watched it and I was obsessed. And it basically goes through how Paul McCartney actually died in a car accident with a young lady before they even broke up. Let me see. Yes, in 1966, and was secretly replaced by a lookalike because the British Royals or whatever, whoever runs Britain, had a lookalike contest on American Bandstand, and they took that lookalike in secret and did, work on his face to make him look even more like Paul McCartney, and then replaced him. And I'm like, and the reason why this came up is because it's so similar to the celebrities we have nowadays. We have many celebrities that are different than what we remember. And of course, people get older and they change, and plastic surgery is wild out here, but I don't know. It's like, what is this thing that's happening to celebrities? There's Selena Gomez, Britney Spears, Jim Carrey, Paul McCartney. There's like many celebrities that are exhibiting like major changes in their faces and in their energy and the way they speak and the way they show up, especially Selena Gomez. So I'm like, how can we, my question that that I asked Spirit to kind of get this ball rolling is like, who can I talk to that could reveal something about what's going on? Because we can't tap into people's energy without permission. So we want to follow cosmic law, but at the same time, we want to find out the truth. So cosmic law says you cannot read anyone's energy who's alive that doesn't give you permission. And so if that is true, this is an experiment. If that's true, then let's ask people who are crossed over that are willing to give the information if you're willing to ask. And so someone that is familiar with this scenario of celebrity lookalikes is George Harrison. George Harrison was a seeker and may have been speaking of the spiritual sense. Well, it does say that he was very into spirituality. And he died at 58. Interestingly enough, he had in 98, before his stabbing, he didn't die of the stabbing. I think he had fear of dying from the stabbing. That's why he could have made the last will and testament of George Harrison. But he had a throat cancer or a throat tumor. And I'm like, throat tumor, that's interesting because what we're learning from energy manipulation is that if you are matching it, or if have repressed emotions, if he had to keep a secret for so long, it could have affected his throat chakra, giving him a throat tumor, which he was a smoker, so that enhanced his susceptibility of matching energy manipulation and having developing throat cancer. And so that's how he died, was from throat cancer. Harrison prayed once with Emerson Fittipaldi to have Christ. Stand up and make a clap. So I'm just wondering if George could shed some light on what this phenomenon is. Like, what is this thing that happens? Is it consciousness jumping? Is it vessel takeover? Is it clones? Is it plastic? Is it lookalikes? Is it all of them? Does it matter? I don't know. Like, I'd love to know. So that's the question that brought us to this evolution of this experiment. So we'll see what comes out. But according to the theory, Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966. And to spare the public from grief, the surviving Beatles, aided by Britain's M15, which is their Secret Service program, replaced him with a McCartney lookalike. Spirit said wretched, subsequently communicating the secret through subtle details in their albums, more than one. Proponents perceived clues among elements of Beatles songs and cover artwork. Clue hunting proved infectious, and by October 1969 had become an international phenomenon. Rumors declined after Life published an interview with McCartney in November 1969. Okay, so maybe my sister wasn't lying. I don't know, but the phenomenon was the subject of analysis in the fields of sociology, psychology, and communications. And then the Beatles broke up in 1970, which is weird because, when I remember watching they call it a mockumentary because they can't substantiate it, but I remember watching it, and George Harrison expressed his disdain for the new Paul. And when they'd make songs together, they were always having to pretend, that this is the Paul, but they know that it's not him. So it's like, how can you go on and treat this person like they're Paul, and they're acting like Paul, and they're pretending to be Paul, but they're not Paul, but you have to pretend in public, and you got to make these songs. Like, it would just really take the love out of making the music with this person, like knowing that I'm living this lie. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. And that's kind of what he expressed in the mockumentary, which is actually on YouTube. It's an hour and a half long. You can absolutely watch it. They go through all the He goes through all the albums and the secret messages that were embedded in the album cover art, and he also spoke about backmasking, which we talked about this in our last reading, but there's this and I'm sorry I don't know his name. I'm not good with names, but I bet if you Google school professor and backmasking, you could find him. But he basically connected that backmasking, although you can create backmasking intentionally, there's this phenomenon where when you make music as the artist, you sing the music forward, and the recording of the thought, because thoughts are energy, thoughts are electric, the backmasking will capture the artist's thoughts internally as they sing externally. And what he found was that a lot of these backmasking that gets captured is the artist's thoughts. And so in the backmasking for the Beatles, and even for like Beyonce and Jay-Z, these messages get embedded into the music, but you can only discern them when you play it backwards. So it's capturing your subconscious thought. And so if it's capturing the thoughts of George Harrison or the singers, some of the backmasking that was captured was Paul is dead, Paul is dead. And so they're singing the songs and they're thinking in their head, oh my God, Paul's dead. How can we, Paul is dead, Paul's dead. We have to sing these songs, but Paul is dead. And so that got captured in the backmasking. Did new Paul have to learn to play guitar, whatever he played? I'm not sure. I don't even know if it's true. Spirit just said the rumors are false. And then down, and you are enough, wretched, and basement holds darkness. So it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. And then there's the rumor about Britney Spears and how she could have died in a car accident. And so, yeah, what he said, give me a flash. Oh, geez. The problem with that theory is that all the people you mentioned are considered Illuminati puppets. Yeah, that's another component. These celebrities we know, I also have this card. These celebrities we know have to attend these parties or these gatherings where they partake in very questionable, Spirit said Baal, B-A-A-L. They participate in fertility rituals that have to do with children and eating special kinds of meat and pizza, and they have these fertility rituals that they perform, and what we know about what's really happening is energy exchange. And so we know that anyone who enters into the entertainment industry is essentially indoctrinating themselves or initiating themselves into that fertility cult. And so I'm wondering, like, at what level does one begin to start? I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, there's so many questions, and if you notice in this picture, all of these people look like their faces start looking the same. It could be from plastic surgery, it could be from the vessel jumping, it could be from an entity. We were talking about Legion. And so I'm hooked. Can we talk about this all day? Yes. Backmasking was denied by Zeppelin chief, who said lyrics were hard enough to write forwards. Yeah, you should look up that professor, because he said backmasking is something that happens automatically when you're recording, and your subconscious thoughts will get imprinted into the recording as well, but they'll be heard backwards because it's a reflection of your thoughts. And so if the artists are thinking, 666, I worship Satan, and they're thinking that in their mind, but they're that will be embedded into the music. Right. It's subconscious thought. And so one thing about this, like look at this girl. She looks like Britney Spears and Selena Gomez. This kind of reminds me of Jim Carrey. And then this person reminds me of Paul McCartney. So it's just like all their faces kind of look the same. You know, they get the weird like cheekbone thing going on and like the lifted brow, and like they just start losing their individuality. They all start looking the same. But I don't know if it's attributed to strictly plastic surgery. I'm not sure. So yeah, Cher too. That's Cher. There's a lot of celebrities that this applies to that I'm realizing. So Spirit did give me this. It has pizza, it's got meat in it, so it's giving me this indication of, you know, what the common denominator of all these people is, that they participate in these fertility rituals that are varied in, you know, they involve children and in eating certain kinds of food and pizza. Okay.
Tenderness.
So we'll see. I don't know. I will say that this is an experiment. I don't know what's going to come out. It's all allegedly for entertainment purposes only. I cannot prove any of it in a court of law. We're doing an energy experiment to see if we can talk to cross over energy that's not in physical form anymore, to get higher perspectives of things we don't understand. Okay, watch The Twilight Zone, then recap Don't Be So Dense. Time takes forward and the chopper snap back. The news tells about them. No Herschel Greens. I don't know what you just said. The people who are depicted as being crazy are the ones that rejected the full experience. Oh, maybe.
The witch is here.
The witch is here. But we also have to remember that essentially when you become a celebrity, you're an asset. You're like you are considered like property, and the bigger you are, the more they want to try to keep you in action. You know, that they can't make money off of you if you die. If Britney Spears died a long time ago. Oh yeah, I also have a dream I had when I was maybe like 23. I had this dream about Britney Spears, and she was in this hot tub full of red water, and she was like curled up in a ball, unresponsive, in this hot tub. And this hot tub, I was like panning out above it so I could like see above it, and the water was red, and there was like felt or some kind of soft material. It's a circular hot tub, and there's some kind of soft material all around it, and it was just like red. And I've always been in my mind since then, and I don't know what it means. I don't know why I had it, but it's interesting. I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but I just want to say it just in case. Okay. Hey, Hayes, what up? To who, yes, they can ask Puff and Biggie and shrug about Tupac, though. It's an art form to making money from the dead in itself. Yeah, right? It's like, what do they say? You're worth more alive. You're worth more dead than alive. It's like, once they invest into an asset, because people die every day, you guys, even celebrities, like, we can't deny that. And so what happens when you invest so much money and that celebrity wants to leave, or wants to get out of the cult, or dies unexpectedly, or there's so many scenarios where it would actually hurt the powers that be to lose, chaos, to lose the asset. And so what are the lengths they're willing to go to keep making money off of that asset? Well, you know, have a lookalike contest. And you know, it kind of reminds me, I got the the movie Smokin' Aces, where they had those agents that underwent plastic surgery drastically to change their whole look, so they wouldn't be recognized. So this is technology that I think that has been around for a long time, including for possibly Paul McCartney. So let's get into it. Spirit. You're a voice for who they think you represent. That's why rap music is so classless and has no substance. Well, I think they... Hey, Drake. Hey, Drake. Thanks for being here. You're the first person I had to turn my audio down for. Oh. Is that good or bad? You look like a witch. Love that movie, but your basis is a little off.
Of course.
Of course. Room temperature IQ take. Bad. Bad to the bone. Bad. Okay. George Harrison, who are you? Disaster. George Harrison, what do you want us to know to start this off? I am no cross, no crown. No cross, no crown. No cross, no crown, he says to I am. I am no cross, no crown. I am everything. Oh, I am consciousness. Okay, thank you. He wasn't part of the cross or the crown. Look at this. He was not about that life. He did not want to do that. He said no babies for me. That's why I was getting like, he was a victim of a stabbing. He got a throat tumor. He got throat cancer. It's interesting. I wonder if his breaking away of the industry may have made him a target, or him speaking out truth. Oh. Under, I think. Healing hands. Yeah, he may have wanted to walk away from the industry. So he wanted to protect his stability by having a last will and testament to be able to protect himself and his family. Magic mushroom, he said avoid. He didn't eat the pizza. He didn't eat the meat. He didn't eat the... He just said avoid. He wanted to avoid disaster and chaos because there is a witch here. They were doing some kind of witchcraft. He didn't want to take the mushrooms or eat the food. Under love, he did not love this about whatever he was part of. The act. I act. Give me one for I act. Oh. I act. Action, energy, conflict, passion, sex drive, aggression. Rules the first house, Aries. Aries energy. Knowing knowledge but keeping your eyes close to it. Because she has a star on her forehead but her eyes are closed. Anvil, yeah. Turning a blind eye, pretending that it's not the way it is. Audrey Hepburn. I believe in being strong when everything seems to be going wrong. I believe that choppy girls are the prettiest girls. I believe that tomorrow is another day, and I believe in miracles. Choppy miracles. Choppy miracles is circled right here. Choppy miracles. That kind of gives me, under I achieve. Under I grow, choppy
Explain
growth.
that device.
Choppy growth. Her eyeshadow represents good and evil. That's a good observation of symbolism. Absolutely. And there's also like it reminds me of a kaleidoscope. Like it's always changing, or there's always some kind of it's right on top of change. Instability. Yeah, not knowing. Oh, that kind of goes with what we've been discovering about these celebrities that are in this cult. It's like a choppy miracle, like it reminds me of the Lena Morgana reading where she was like, these celebrities do these rituals to have abundance, to have talent. They have talent already, but because of the chip on their shoulder, they get talked into doing these fertility rituals for certainty, to have a certain miracle, to be able to perform with certainty and create with certainty, because the fertility rituals allow vessel attachment to these entities that use the vessels for, creating or whatever, because these are fourth and fifth interdimensional beings that have access to higher realm creations. It doesn't necessarily mean they're divine, because obviously they always elicit some kind of, low emotion out of people, or they're about, the songs are about, especially nowadays, they're not about anything special or anything. It's usually about drugs, money, whatever. But I'm saying they don't know if they would have grown by themselves, because they're gate kept and they participate in these rituals, and so it's a choppy miracle. It's questionable. It's like, okay, well, this miracle happened. I can sing with precision. I can create this song, but did it really come from me? Is it really? Could I have really done it on my own? They'll never know. So it's like a choppy miracle. It's like, okay, I got the miracle, but I'll never know if I would have done it on my own. That's the kind of what I'm getting from this. May the Lord relearn you and give you some discipline. The Army General is still missing. That picture represents instability. No primary colors. That's a great observation too. Oh, I love this, you guys. We're learning how to read energy together.
Flashing.
So let's look at Audrey Hepburn a little more. She's also smoking a cigarette. George Harrison smoked cigarettes. It could have been a contributing factor to his throat cancer he got, although I kind of feel like that was enhanced by some energy manipulation to make him be quiet. So it says he died in November 1966, and George Harrison, oh yeah, George Harrison died in November as well. And then get this. So George Harrison was born 2/25/43. 4 plus 3 is 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then 3, 4, 5, 2, 2 is 16. And 1 plus 6 is 7. So that's 777. Okay, that's when he was born. And then get this. When he died, it was, ooh, throw shakalaka. Ooh, throat shakalaka. Archangel Michael, please, or any archangel that would like to be of service, please remove the energy blockages from my throat. Thank you. And then when he died 11/29/01. So 9 plus 2 is 11, and then 11, and then 01. So that's 11, 11, 1. So just some number anomalies that they like to use. You know, they like to, oh, and it's 11 in the chat. They like to use numerological anomalies for certain things that they like to do. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. What else? So she's smoking a cigarette. I believe in being strong. Strong is circled. Strong, choppy, prettiest miracles. Yeah, so it's like bypassing the practice, bypassing the hard work it takes to, you know, create a song or use your experiences. It's like bypassing the discipline it takes and the expansion it takes. It's like bypassing all that. So something about the way that they grow with their talent, something about that. There's also like a thing over her eyes. So, and then her eyes were closed here, and then I have eyes on the hands here. So something about the way they perceive, you know, the way that they justify or turn a blind eye to something. You guys are crazy. Hey, I dropped this. Hey, you. Hey, you dropped this. Yeah, I grow. Just almost like cooperating with interdimensionals for promise of growth and abundance and expansion. Okay? Yeah, I achieve. This is on top of number 7 as well. And I just said 777. Some kind of reflection, assessment, some kind of knowledge, cooperation, restriction, discipline, structure, which is kind of feels like the opposite. This is ruled by a Capricorn, the 10th house.
I am Ambrose.
Yeah, it's like bypassing discipline, I have regrets, bypassing structure, bypassing the wisdom to learn, you know, using sex drive, using fertility rituals to enhance themselves. But there's something about him not wanting to do it. I only want 2 things in this world. I want you and I want us. I only want 2 things. I only want 2 things in this world. I want you and I want us. Under evolve, rebellion, freedom, awakening. Rome. Action, mastery, accomplishment. I only want 2 things. I want to be famous, and I want to be talented. Interesting. Okay, let me get 2 more and then we'll get some clarity on these things. Best live I've seen so far. Oh, thank you, Richard. Audrey Hepburn was beautiful. She was. We should read Audrey Hepburn one day. These uneducated kids with the 6-7 shit, they don't even know what they really means. Well, they will. As far as I know, I'm delightful. Under I dream. Yeah, it's some kind of weird illusion. It's some kind of weird illusion. It's like a delusion. under psychic ability, illusion, intuition, dreams, spirituality, sensitivity, fruition, attainment, and fulfillment. As far as I know, I'm delightful. What do you guys get from that?
2 men here.
It just kind of gives me like an empty vessel. You know, just an empty vessel, like going through the motions. You know, drinking the coffee, drinking the wine, making the music. You know, but it's missing something. It's like missing something. If you want to be talented, you're not talented. Plus, people correlate fame with being rich and not. Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm getting to, Richard. It's like this fertility cult that, you know, there's some kind of disconnect, or they prey on people that associate validation with fame and talent. You know, it's like talentless people believing that fame will bring them validation of some kind. You know, so they allow themselves to partake in these rituals that they don't really understand the implications or consequences for, and they end up, you know, lacking the discipline and the structure and the optimism because they're bypassing the wisdom and the discipline it takes to develop a talent. Not to say that they didn't have the, you know, a talent to begin with, but honestly, you know, in my opinion, the Beatles are not that talented. Like I listen to their music, and I'm not saying that they didn't, you know, give, you know, they didn't, what do I want to say? They didn't, what's that word? They contributed to our pop culture, but are they the most talented artists ever? I don't think so. I think there's like other artists that are much more talented than that. So it's interesting that they became so big so quickly. I find that to be very interesting. And they got so big to a point that if Paul McCartney did die, you know, they already invested all of these rituals and all of this time and all of these, you know, parties, you know, all of this time they invested to have this person be a vessel. You are freaking a-we-some. You are freaking a-we-some. Oh, that's interesting. Look how this is, like, I don't know how, let me see. Look how this is, it's like, you are a-we-some. So it's like,
Private.
it's like, you are we. Kind of reminds me of Legion, you guys. It kind of reminds me of Legion. It's like this fertility cult of the entertainment industry is utilizing an interdimensional being that is like a hive mind. And so every time they utilize this power in the ways that they do, it feels like this, like the same energy of one. You are a we some, you know, like one of some. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you guys? If you want to be talented, then you're not talented. Oh, I already read that. Paul McCartney not talented is crazy. I don't know. Do you think that he's very talented? Let me see. Let me give him a chance. Okay. I mean, I've listened to Beatles my whole life. I just don't get it. Oh, wait. Let me see. Paul McCartney cover. Oh wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? He just has Paul McCartney's had such a plastic surgery face to me for so long. Like that smooth, like cheekbone kind of thing going on. You think Paul McCartney's talented? I disagree. It's my opinion, and I love your opinion too. As an inspiring rapper myself, if you don't write your own lyrics, then you're not a true artist. I don't know if that's true either. Because sometimes you can write your own lyrics, but you're just not good at rapping them. You know, like me. Like, I love writing, but I'm not a rapper. You know, I just can't. I don't hold that part of it, but I can be a good ghostwriter. But then there's other people that have that ability to put personality and put like that stank on it, you know, on somebody else's lyrics. So I think that both things require their own talent, you know, and sometimes people have both. You know, I don't think we should be limited. You know, just because I can't perform the lyrics doesn't mean I can't write the lyrics. And just because I can't write the lyrics doesn't mean I can't be the entertainment that puts the lyrics to life, you know? So, okay. Paul McCartney song. So, and like Paul McCartney could be a good writer. You know, he could be a good writer to some songs, but I don't know, just sometimes the way the songs are sung, I just don't resonate with them. Oh, here, I Want to Hold Your Hand. So this is, I Want to Hold Your Hand was before he supposedly died. Oh, I don't want to get copyright infringement, but I don't know, like, is this the best singing we have? I just don't know if it's like the best singing ever. Oh my god, the girls are going crazy. I just don't think they're the best. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, you know, very mediocre artists blow up, and we have to know that they blow up because they're willing to do the fertility ritual. Hey, what are you doing?
Mommy, can I watch YouTube?
Oh, sorry. But you have to watch the kids one, okay?
Not the YouTube channel.
Yes. Okay. Make sure you close my curtain. Close my curtain. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. This is a hard energy to read. You know, I had a lot of things stopping me from reading this energy. My phone died. I got up at like, it was like 2 or like 1:40. I got up and my phone was dead and it would not charge. I couldn't get it to charge. I had to get up and put it in another charger. And then I had to keep checking to make sure that it was charging because it wouldn't hold a charge. John Lennon wrote the music and the Beatles that no one remembers produced the music. They are not mediocre. I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like they're mediocre.
Angel hierarchy.
I feel like they're okay. You might not be a fan, but McCartney is one of the most prolific songwriters of all time. And the Beatles have plenty of bangers. Listen, Don't Let Me Down. Listen to Don't Let Me Down.
What's Pokemon binder? Do they put Pokemon cards in?
Yeah.
I always wanted one because I only have to put 4 each in here.
Okay, I'll put it in the cart for Amazon, okay? Close the curtain.
Okay.
My son wants Pokemon cards. You're a beautiful mother. Oh, thank you, Billy. Forgive me. You're gorgeous, though. Oh, thank you. You might not be a fan, but McCartney is one of the most... I wrote that. Then who do you consider to be
Stop right
elite
here.
if you think the Beatles are mediocre? Oh, thank you, Goblin. Okay, thank you. And it's just my opinion. I just don't resonate with their
Elegance.
music. So it's not that they're bad, it's just to me I feel like there's better artists. Someone who I think is better is like I think George Michael is amazing. I love George Michael. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I love I love I don't know why it's so hard for me to think. Her, Her. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. Um, I love the Eagles. I love Fleetwood Mac. I do love, I don't know, I just, when it comes to identifying, I don't know. There's just something about certain artists where I'm like, I don't know if, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Yeah, Eminem is pretty. I don't know if Tupac is as good as people say. I think Tupac was good for certain things, but I listen back to the lyrics and I'm like, I don't like rap that's filled with, the N-word and cuss words and talking about horrible things. Like, I don't know. I I want emotion, I want lyrical, I don't know. It's just different. Fleetwood Mac, I will give you that. They're spectacular. What do you think of Elton John? I think Elton John is great.
They left me.
I think Elton John is great. Eminem's music is it is, some of it is raunchier. And I do cringe at some of his lyrics as well. Sometimes I swear they're just what's that? Shock value. But a lot of rappers, I feel like, run off of shock value. They say the most craziest things. And I'm not a fan of rap like that. I want like lyrical rap like Cruise or like Third Eye Indigo or like Talib Kweli, Mos Def, and they haven't even made music in so long, but I'm really into like lyrics. But anyway, so let's continue. So there's something that he resisted. Okay, there is something he resisted. Nas is good too, but I don't know. There's something about Nas that's a little off too. I do love Nas. If I ruled the world, I'd free all my sons. I never left them, baby. Oh, that's such a good song. I love Lauryn Hill. I used to love Lauryn Hill. That's a good one too. Check out Can I Bus? Yep, I know about him. There's a lot of lyrical people that people don't listen to lyrics anymore, but I love lyrics. This energy is really hard to read. It does not want me to read it. All right, let's continue. Spirit, tell me what is going on. So he didn't take the mushrooms. He rejected the babies. No cross, no crown. He rejected religion and the monarchy. But there is something that he pretended, something he turned a blind eye to, because he wanted to continue to get the energy, to continue to have stability and continue to work in the industry. So he put on a smile. And he dropped his brain, he put on a smile, and he just went along with it. Like, he turned a blind eye for a while. Okay, so Spirit is bringing up something about, the parties they have and the things that are involved. Certain kinds of meats, pizza, children, old people. There's only one old person, so there is something about that. Okay. All right. What else? Where should we go? Let's go into omens and superstitions. George, tell us more about this. Tell us more about this. carrots. Yep.
The devil was here.
The devil was here. Faced with corporal punishment, Britain still believed that a strand of horsehair, particularly one plucked from a living horse, stretched across the palm of their hand would cause the cane of a master punishing them to split. And that's funny because I have this.
The devil is here.
The devil is here again. Spirit said that twice in a row. And one devil has a lowercase and one devil has a uppercase. Faced with corporal punishment, schoolboys in many parts of Britain still believe that a strand of horsehair, particularly one plucked from a living horse, stretched across the palm of their hand would cause the cane of a master punishing them to split. So he's saying he didn't want to be punished. He didn't want to be punished because of the death of Paul McCartney. He wanted to continue. They had just started their journey together when he died not long after, supposedly, allegedly. And so he didn't want to be faced with the punishment of losing one of his boys, because he still believed that there was a lot more that they could do together. So instead of punishing them all, maybe that was a way he justified this action that Britain took. They had an idea that persisted for many years that was like eating carrots, but it didn't improve their eyesight because it was creating a war inside of themselves that was propagated by the British to be fed a special diet, to make themselves superior, to fight, to keep up a story that was a cover to develop certain truths because they contained salt. The truth contained salt, and it would create trouble. And that also reminds me of, Britain saying, well, if we don't do this, it's going to cause mass suicide worldwide. They sold it to the group as a way to justify why they should do it. But in their mind, they're young and they just started this group and they just, did a fertility ritual. And now all of a sudden, a life gets taken after they've done certain acts. And so it's like they're trying to justify how they can keep up this truth, because so the MI5 says,
I do not understand.
Yeah, I do not understand. Says we have to do this because if everyone knows that Paul McCartney is actually dead, they're gonna, hurt themselves. And so then they're like, oh, well, we don't want anyone to hurt themselves. Yeah, I guess we'll do what needs to be done, Have you heard of the book, Behold the Pale Horse? I have heard of that book. Hey, Mr. Brad Boy. If that worked, we Texas baby boomers could have used some strands. Show the pic again. I'll tell you who they all are. Oh, what, this one? And so they dangled Spirit said assault. And we know in this fertility cult, which is worldwide, that's powered by the monarchy, okay? They use fertility rituals that involve, babies and doing back door and front door assault, okay? They dangled a carrot in front of the other group members, even though the carrots were salted, because they were brought quantities of aphrodisiacs to relieve their constriction. So just money, drugs, fame, in quantities. because they wanted their story to continue, and they didn't want it to end. They had just started this group that was, they did the fertility rituals, and they blew up very fast. Found you. I was like, damn, where's she at? Gotcha. Gotcha.
I'm feeling tired.
Okay. And so they decided to be like a caterpillar, even though they were suspicious or they weren't sure if it would be good luck. They held Paul as a primary in the highest esteem, the early man. And when they decided to have the new person represent Paul, Paul was still a main character in the group. And deliberate. They made Paul a main character. Oh. Stop it. Oh, shit. Stop it. Spirit just said deliberate. They could have gotten rid of Paul McCartney in the beginning because he did not want to do the fertility rituals. No cross, no crown. Afraid. Yes. Yes, LOL. Absolutely. Yep, he did not want to take the drugs. He didn't want to hurt the babies. No cross, no crown. Paul McCartney they had started this group. They went to these parties. Paul may have denied doing these things and may have said no to these things at the party. He didn't want to eat quantities of boiled vegetables to help his asthma. He didn't want to relieve the constriction of his bronchial tubes by eating the carrots. He didn't
protect this place.
Yeah, so the minute he denied the ritual is the minute he sealed his death wish. But the other people in the group wanted to continue the group. Oh my God. And so he had to go. But if you want to continue the group, then we're going to have to replace him because he was meant to be the biggest, I don't know if he was considered like the most good looking out of all of them, or how they always place one person in a group that's like, the front person, that computer voice talking to you should tell it gotcha when understanding. Well, maybe it will one day. John Lennon once accepted Christ and even wrote an apology to his ex. And maybe that's why he had to go as well. Okay? We know now from doing the past readings that once you want to walk away from this, you can't walk away alive. You either walk away with, going crazy and you get looked at like you're a crazy person, and you're tainted and no one trusts you, no one trusts what you say, or you die. And those are the only outs you have. You can't participate in the ritual and then leave. You can't do it. So Paul McCartney may have said no to no cross, no crown, no babies, no drugs. Okay? He didn't want to be a part of that stuff. And so he left. He wanted to leave the group. And so that was the minute he signed his death wish. Wow. He was the most famous cat. The most famous of all of them. And so if one... he had the most tenacity for life, and he was the most original and held in the highest esteem. But when they became famous, and there's something about him. There's something about him and is thought to be unlucky.
Are you ready?
Having suspicion of his misfortune because he was familiar of witches, because he believed he was familiar had to be the familiars of witches. There were witches that have the power to turn themselves into felines to carry out their evil intentions. He didn't want to be thought of as sinister. He didn't want to be part of an evil, sinister belief system and a group of witches. So it started a fire omen, and a storm came to him and scratched the back of his leg, and the weather changed. And his country of people believed that they could wash his face and ears for a longer period of time to get more licks in than may be expected. But the ship had trouble because he was playful, and they considered him an object.
Do you have questions?
He wanted to wash himself and close the doorway that the omen had opened with the clergyman that would visit his house. He started to have a wave of unluckiness that caused him to cry and set off on a journey
Pain.
because it was altering his memory. Oh, my eyes are getting blurry.
Adult.
And he became a mice being chased by a cat. Wow. So basically, he wanted to walk away, and he could have been being haunted. They could have been sending energy to him to like make him know, like, you're going to lose all your luck now. Your journey's going to be harder. It's going to, scaring him. Because he was targeted by witches. That consequently, a number of them have put charms on him to develop and take away his protection, to scatter him like roses on the ground. Piece by piece, hanging at the door,
Next.
he knew he'd be next. Something about ears, root, tail, and witches stealing his milk. And shortly a death in the family. Wow. Mustache. Beware of that man, be he friend or brother, whose hair is one color and mustache is another. Murder. Music. Musicians. Yeah. He didn't just get into a car accident. They sent him energy manipulation to make him crash or if that's even how he died, they basically sent, evil to him because he wanted to walk away. And so that's what they do. They either, make you want to unalive yourself, or they send an energy manipulation to you so you crash your car or you get cancer or something like that.
Watched.
Okay, so beware of that man, be he friend or brother, whose hair is one color and mustache another. The Americans have quite a quaint superstition concerning mustaches, which is summed up in this delightful verse. Beware of that man, be he friend or brother, whose hair is one color and mustache is another. Yeah, there was a bad omen. Murder was sent to him. His dead body was lying on the ground because spirits were sent to him to wander earth to take his natural life. And so the rest of the group was in a bind because they wanted to continue their journey. And so MI15 said, well, you can continue your journey, but not with Paul because Paul broke his oath already. And so we have to get rid of him. And so that's the secret. That's the big secret. He didn't just randomly die in a car accident. It's because he didn't want to continue doing the rituals. But the rest of the group did. The rest of the royals, something about the royals, who regard themselves as semi-divine. But that we know that's not true. And so a royal storm was the actual death forecasted because Paul McCartney failed to disperse a crop of winged seeds. Wow. And Rose, I've been seeing Rose. So the group signed on for the misfortune because they didn't want to stop being the Beatles. And so they got a person. Well, let me see. Tell me about what they did afterwards. If they unalived Paul McCartney, what was the next course of action? Gotcha, Brad boy. Creepers and crawlers. Lizard. Wow. It was a defense measure to discard and regrow.
Abandonment.
A tough, enduring character that was grudgingly admired. The group was afraid, curious, nervous, and intrigued. They were scared. They were threatened because they had already partaken in their surroundings and used sexual power to bring a healing influence to answer their questions, and they were controlled. So they were scared. They didn't really have a choice because they saw what they did to Paul McCartney, and so they weren't self-reliant. They already had partaken in making their life difficult with beings with forked tongues. They didn't want to be part of a disaster strike. And they didn't want to let go of the power. So it was twofold. It was like they didn't want to stop being part of the group, but they saw what happens when you
Injected.
reject what what's required of you to do it, to be part of the group. And so it was a two-edged sword. It was a double time. It was, okay, well, I want to see where this goes and I want to continue because I'm having fun. And I'm also scared as hell because if you leave the group or you decide, you say no cross, no crown, and you say no to the rituals, you die. So it's like, what choice? It was a sensible threat they had to go towards with caution because they feared the idea of the snakes rather than the physical body, because they can move without legs. They can move over any surface because they're interdimensional, and they have authority. They had used destruction, sex, and evil. And so they have serpent energy that coils up your spine, that's complex and ancient. And they knew that they could do the same thing to Paul that they did to them. So it's some kind of negative creature that can be perceived as healing, but it's really evil. Shadow, trickster, hero, yeah. The shadow is dark and it's unpleasant. And so it was either you do this or you die. Those are their only options. And so in their mind, they're thinking, Paul is dead. I don't want to die too. So let me just...
A demon here.
A demon here. Yep. So they just acknowledged the shadow aspects and shoved it way down and said, I'm just going to be the hero and continue doing the rituals and just pretending like everything's fine. These people have zero talent and they're billionaires. T Swift, Avril Lavigne, all these demons. I think that they do have talent.
Hellfire.
I just think that it doesn't get properly developed the way it would if the entertainment industry wasn't so gatekept. If they didn't perpetuate their own agendas through these artists, look this way and create songs that sound like this. And, they're very controlling in that way. And so it's hard to say if they were to just develop on their own through their own experiences and their own inspirations, would their creations and their images be the same? Would it develop in the same way? I don't know. I don't think so,
Finite.
This isn't news, dear. We know this. Well, we're just getting confirmations. Some people don't understand. Okay, so they needed the traditional hero figure that looks like they come from humble origins, to overcome adversity and to continue to overcome these hostile forces because they were benefiting personally. They had personal benefit to continue to represent themselves as the heroes. This was thank you so much for the gift. This is a group that it was the first big boy band. They're very iconic in our pop culture for representing these heroes, these men that look really normal and just very average that can blow up. It was like the beginning of celebrity. I feel like the beginning of worldwide celebrity. And I think this is definitely some kind of operation, like
Maleficent.
cooperation. All right, what else? All right, he wants me to do some songs. We'll do some 70s and 80s songs. Let It Be was written by Paul after his deceased mom, Mary, spoke it to him. Forgive the whatnot and move on. He did it, seems. I love how they sold their souls, signed their names in blood, got all the money, went to all the parties, and now they want to seek Jesus. Like, be for real. Hey, sometimes you gotta go through a lot and come to a certain place in your life before you are like, oh damn, let me ask for help from Yeshua. You know? Everyone's on their own journey. All right, George, tell us more. What else? So there's definitely something here about Paul denying the ritual. Take Me Home, Country Road, 1971, John Denver. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, Country Road. Yeah, he got taken home all right. Yeah, he got taken home a long time ago. Raindrops keep falling on my head. B.J. Thomas, 1970. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done. To the sun, S-U-N. Confirmation. So I just did some talking to the sun, and I didn't like the way he got things done. Yeah. Sun worship. Saturn. This is about the light bearer, sun worship. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Yeah, he didn't like the way that things were done. He was gonna walk away. Wake up, Maggie. I think I got something to say to you. It's late September and I really should be back at school. Rod Stewart, 1971. Maggie May. Wake up, Maggie. Wake up, Maggie. I think I got something to say to you. Yeah, he was going to say something. He was going to say something. He was going to open his mouth and let everyone know what they really do. So he had to go.
My family is here.
Ay, ay, ay. Talking to the streets. I can't make it up. He was going to tell everybody. Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney's dead, you guys. That is not the real Paul McCartney. Don't go breaking my heart. Don't go breaking my heart. I couldn't if I tried. Oh, honey, if I get restless, baby, you're not that kind. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. I was raised here in this living hell. Yeah, something about George having to continue to do the rituals to be a part of this group. Okay, well, if you want to if you don't want to die, you know, it's like blackmail, you guys. They blackmail these entertainers, so you have to do them, because if you don't continue doing the rituals, they need vessels to continue doing the rituals. They cannot do them by themselves. They have no vital force. They have to, that's why they preferred the children, because the children have the clearest fields, and it's a blackmail fertility ritual cult. So in order to keep this is what they've learned over time, that in order to keep the entertainers from leaving or stopping doing the rituals or pretending to be dead or disappearing without their knowledge, they attach a cord to them through the ritual, and they can spy on them spiritually in the astral realm or through dreams, or they can send a monitoring spirit to see who you're talking to, and they have these celebrities be blackmailed, so they'll drug them and they'll have them do some kind of weird act in order to keep them from leaving, like Paul McCartney wanted to do. Paul McCartney, this was in 1966, or right? 1966? So this could have been like the part of the beginning of learning, confirmation of learning, you know, how we can keep people, we can keep people stuck to us, bound to us. We should blackmail them, and we should get them in a position where they can't leave, where they can't speak out, because no one will believe them, or they'll think that they're crazy, or they'll be so embarrassed by what we have against them that they will never leave, you know. Just Just wild. And so Paul McCartney may have been at the beginning, like before they realized that there are people who will walk away. And so they could have possibly created that failsafe because of Paul McCartney, the blackmail failsafe for them, for future generation celebrities to come. What the fuck are we talking about? Okay, now I want to know more about like Britney Spears and Selena Gomez. How do these people play? Like, what are the similarities of the situations with Paul McCartney? Memory, the hidden me, something that's hidden. Tell me more about this memory and
You are
hidden
adventurous.
loneliness. Am I comfortable being alone with myself? When does silence soothe me and when does it scare me? The hidden me, moments when I truly hear myself, when my voice feels real and when I long to be heard. Memory. Let me see if I can get more answers. We'll do a mind trap. A frightened Sid Shady picked up the phone and asked Shadow to come to his home at once. The house was in darkness except for the light of several candles. As Shady, it reminds me of a seance. As Shady explained the purpose of his call, he went to the fridge and withdrew a tray of ice. Dropping a cube in his scotch, he began. I owed Lance a fair amount of cash, and when I got home, he was there waiting for me. I had no idea it was him. I've had some bad luck at the track lately as a result. I haven't paid my power bill. They cut it off 2 days ago. When I opened the door, I saw a figure moving in the moonlight, and I panicked. I swung and hit him. He fell back and hit his head on the mantel. He's lying on my living room floor. I think he's dead, Shadow interjected. You can stop the fabrication right there. What's wrong with Shady's account?
That was him.
That was him. Shady said the power was cut off 2 days ago. He could not have pulled a tray of ice from the fridge. They ask a shadow to come to the home. They put the house in darkness. The house could be your vessel. The house can be your vessel, except for the light of several candles burning. Withdrew a tray of ice. I got an ice box where my heart used to be. Dropping a cube in his scotch. Alcohol, addictions. I owed Lance a fair amount of cash. God. Oh, I owed God a fair amount of cash. I've had some bad luck at the track. Paid my power. They pay with their power, with their energy. I opened the door. I fell back, lying on the floor. Oh my gosh. Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed. Lying naked on the floor. Illusions never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. Illusions never changed into something real. What is it? Torn lyrics? There's something about a ritual here. when it comes to these people. I thought I saw a man brought to life. Confirmation. He was warm. He came around like he was dignified. He showed me what it was to cry. You couldn't be that man that I adored. You don't seem to know or seem to care what your heart is for. I don't know him anymore. There's nothing where he used to lie. Our conversation has run dry. That's what's going on. Nothing's fine. I'm torn. I thought I saw
My name is Fred.
I thought I saw a man brought to life. So I guess the fortune teller's right. Should have seen just what was there and not some holy light. But you crawled beneath my veins and now I don't care. I have no luck. I don't miss it all that much. There's so many things that I can't touch. I'm torn. Oh, come through, Spirit. Oh, I have so many. How do I? Okay, so you do the, okay, so these celebrities do the ritual and it's an exchange of energy. You're giving away your God energy. You open a doorway for moving figures in the moonlight, moving shadows. You swing the door open, but it's a non-physical energy. So you can't I'm all out of faith.
Serendipity.
This is how I feel. I'm cold and I'm ashamed. Lying naked on the floor. Illusion never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. You're a little late. I'm already torn. When they die, God's going to tell them, I never knew y'all. That's not true. God says everyone can heal and every experience is valuable. And forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Okay, so there's something, it's some kind of vessel jumping. When they do this fertility ritual, it's for an energy exchange. And so what makes them want to do it is the initial introduction to the ritual is seen as like a holy light. It's seen as like, oh my gosh, this is like godly, this is a miracle, this is supernatural, this is, so on and so forth. It feels like it gets them to put their guard down. So they think they're stepping on board with something like holy or something that's miraculous or something that's, greater than them. Okay, 22222, 2222 in the chat. Okay, so that's what gets them to consider agreeing to be part of the next one, because they're like invited to this party or a meeting or whatever the gathering is, but it will be with other artists, it will be with other entertainers to bring their guard down, and a miracle will be performed in front of them. They'll see some kind of supernatural occurrence. I'm not sure in what capacity, but it's great. It's something that makes them say, whoa, I want to be part of that. Like, where do I sign up? Okay. Give me your energy sucking vampires. Yeah. Call about all, and he is before all things. Anyone else think this is anti-religious shot talk? I think she might be a witch. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Malevolent.
Whatever it is definitely dark. Not really great doing rituals. It's dangerous. Yeah, exactly. It is dangerous. So with these celebrities, what George Harrison is telling us is that it might not be a clone. It might Legion. I told you it's Legion. It's an entity. It's an interdimensional entity that gets interjected into these vessels, and the vessels start to, it kind of reminds me of I'm getting, Spirit's giving me the movie. What the frick is that movie? Where he has the multiple personalities, and with every personality, he like physically changes according to the energy he's in. It's like that. It's vessel jumping. It's different energies jumping into the vessel because of the ritual. But the ritual requires you to open a doorway, and the doorway gets opened by an energy exchange through the fertility ritual. So the fertility ritual is it's designed to make you feel guilt and shame.
Please stay back.
Lying, I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I'm ashamed. Lying naked on the floor. And so the illusion that never changed is that you get talked into doing the ritual because you believe, because they showed you some kind of supernatural occurrence, that if you do this, the illusion is that you're going to be capable of anything you want. You just have to, but they don't tell you that you have to keep doing it. Every time you want to have an abundant moment or have inspiration or continue your talent, you have to continue doing the ritual. But they also don't tell you that they're filming you. And so the ritual requires you to give away your God power, your divine power. It's an exchange. They want to eat that power out of you, and you become deficient.
The lady attacks people.
Or you become indebted in your energy, in your divine energy. And so then you get bound to them through the cord of guilt and shame. I'm lying on the naked. I'm cold and I'm ashamed, lying naked on the floor. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. So it's like these celebrities, Selena, Britney Spears, Jim Carrey, Paul McCartney. It could be that they are the bodies, but they're not the same spirit. And so in that way, they've crossed over or something. Because they're definitely in a house of many deaths. They're definitely in a house of darkness. And they're withdrawn. And they can't explain their purpose. So what's the deal with all of them like looking the same? Spirit said legion in body, malevolent legion. Please stay back. So there's something about how they can't run past. They're suddenly frozen. And I saw Britney Spears in that. She was like in a fetal position in that hot tub with like red everywhere. Something about them. Something about them being frozen, or like frozen is the best way I can describe it. They're like inactive. They're like inactive souls. They're like deactivated or something. Do not use tarot cards. Do not do rituals. This opens you to darkness. The song Torn was about her trying to find her place between Roman Catholic and not believing. Well, we're not taking her literal explanation or her literal meaning of the song. We're speaking with God so God can tell us the answers to our questions about what's going on in these entertainment industries with these celebrities. We want to know why do they all end up looking the same? Why do they all act so weird? Why are they changing in their appearances? And I'm not using tarot. We don't use tarot here. Yes, Torn was a cover song. So I know. So I'm just talking about the lyrics. Okay, you guys have to get more in your feminine energy where we're not logically analyzing with scientific empirical data the literal meanings of the artist's songs. We're using these avenues of communication with God, because God is not limited in the way that God wants to talk to us. God can talk to us through axe markings, through tea leaves, through clouds. God can talk to us any way they want. Okay, and so we're using game cards guided by my spirit team to be able to put together the answers for the questions we ask, because we have questions about these freaking celebrities. Okay. Well, I gotta go, you guys. So how long has it been? Oh, an hour and 40. Opaque, impossible to see through, preventing the passage of light. The heavy buildup of dirt and grime on the windows made from... Oh, blurred... Okay, I'm going to end it on this note. So if you guys watch us, you know that we talk about our electromagnetic field and it's associated to our soul. Everybody has an electromagnetic field. Everyone has a soul. When you perform these rituals, it's not a raising or a lowering of your frequency. It's a distortion of your field. You are always 100% divine energy having a human experience. You are a castle. You are a divine conduit of divine energy. But when you participate in these rituals, they require you to operate in guilt and shame. They need you to be in guilt and shame. And so they do the most deprived thing that they can gather from your own fears, and they will have you perform your fears so you sit in guilt and shame, and it dirties your field. That makes you the dirtiness of your field is the doorway for interdimensional beings to attach themselves to you, because they cannot inhabit physical vessels. They need us to be at a certain level of entry point to affect us. And the more guilt and shame, or the more you participate in these fertility rituals that require you to do the things that are opposite of divine energy, you become an open doorway, impossible to see through, preventing the passage of light. It becomes so dirty that you become the distortion, or you start to change to the energy that you're emitting. You start to become that energy field. If that energy field is filled with things that you've done to maintain this lifestyle you live, then the outside is going to start to look like what your insides are. Does that make sense? I love you too. So I think what Spirit is telling us is that I don't know if they're clones. I think what it is maybe a little bit of both, but ultimately, no matter if you're a lookalike that was transformed, it also says, I thought I saw a man brought to life. He was warm, he came around, and he was dignified. Showed me what it was to cry. So he's talking about the real Paul McCartney. And then you couldn't be that man I adored. So the new Paul McCartney is not Paul McCartney. That's just somebody pretending to be him. But he had to also do the ritual so he could embody Legion. So that's why he has access to mimicking Paul McCartney, to being very good at mimicking Paul McCartney and continuing to do the rituals in order to solidify his talent and his inspiration and all of that. And so they could be similar in their talents. So Paul McCartney was a true talent, and a lot of these artists do have true talent, and that's their entry point. But the entertainment industry is a gatekeeper. You can't continue doing what you want to do in this entertainment industry without doing this. And then it becomes unknown whether you would have developed in the same way, because you're allowing, through guilt and shame, through these rituals, your field to be a doorway for legion, for these interdimensional beings to use your vessel to have human experiences, but they're operating in low energy. So they have these humans doing low acts and being deactivated. They're deactivated while their vessels are doorways. So they're kind of like this, you know? They have their head down and they're deactivated is like the best word I can use. Or what was that other word? Frozen. They're like frozen in a different space where they're not able to be active or participate. And so it's really why they all start looking the same, is because they all have this hive mind and they all have this energy that they share that thrives off of negative emotions, which need to be perpetuated by these, you know, things they do with pizza and children and things. So their physical bodies get disrupted, or they get, I don't know what the word is. Their physical bodies start to look like whatever energy is inhabiting them. Does that make sense? And that's why they have to get like plastic surgeries and do all these things, because they start to age faster. They age more rapidly. They start to look more haggard. They start to look more like heavy and dense. And so they get these plastic surgeries so that way they can still emulate whatever it was the true artist was able to exemplify. But this legion energy doesn't exemplify divine energy. And so they have to use these tactics to make them look a certain way. I don't know, guys. This was a tough one. I think because my reference library I'm still learning about all this spiritual stuff. I'm not an expert. So I tried my best. Maybe later on down the line we'll get a little more clarity. But for now, it has to do with the energy exchange and the cloudiness and the dirtiness of their field is being projected through their physical bodies. Something like that. Okay. We are what we eat. Yeah, absolutely. If we're eating up negativity and we're doing things that continually make us feel guilt and shame, absolutely. You start to look like what you are inside. Okay. I love you guys so much. I gotta go. I will see you this week. I'm going to be coming on as much as I can. And vegan. Maybe we should. I don't know. But even eating vegetables is kind of like you're eating baby vegetables, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still alive. I don't know. I think that's more of an exchange, you know, like we breathe the air that fuels the photosynthesis of the chlorophyll that makes the vegetables and the fruit. I don't know. I love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.